doctor called me and was like, your liver enzymes are high. You were also describing these digestive issues. We have a great idea that it might be your gallbladder, so you're going to need to go to a surgeon to possibly get your gallbladder removed.
Oh, hi, Morgan.
Hey.
Oh, you all right? Yeah, your little cute little.
I'm good.
I'm good. I got my burger, my fries, and my coffee.
I got my water.
I've had water. But anyway, that's my setup. Anyway, I'm sorry that you were not able to eat a burger today. I feel terrible calling you a bitch, but that's what it's called. But let's tell everybody, like, what's happening with you. Why can't you eat a burger, bitch?
Well, so I've started a competition prep, which obviously this is probably new to some people who are listening because this wasn't really in discussion any of the other episodes.
Did I just call you out?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I want to get into a little bit of it more so in the full episode because obviously this is still a review. Like, we're still doing a review here.
Yeah.
Mainly for me, like, this is a decision that I'm making. Like, I'm choosing to do this. And one thing I want to highlight too is competition prep is a lot different from someone who's just living a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it's something that I myself have to be okay with, and also other people have to see that, like, what I'm doing is not sustainable year round, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing this for a specific reason, and I'm doing it for a specific timeline. Yeah. Bodybuilding, as much as, you're enhancing your physique, it's also not the healthiest thing to do either. So going into it and knowing, like, it's a sport that I'm doing, and I'm doing it for a reason behind it, an intent behind it. And yes, I do have to make sacrifices. Like, I can't have a burger today, but food will always be there. Like, a burger will always be there at the end of the day. And yeah, that's my...
An air burger. I don't even know what that is. Anyway, so I'm going to take a few bites of my hamburger. And again, really sorry, Morgan.
Well, it looks good. Looks like you got bacon and
onions. It's blue. I love blue cheese. I put blue cheese on a lot of things. You just made a face. Why are you making that face?
I don't like...
Okay. Well, I do. Can you stop looking at my burger like that?
Where did you get it from?
Katarina's Cafe.
Okay.
In Timonium.
Okay.
They have a lot of... It was hard to choose. They have a lot of different hamburgers. There's a lot of great food. They had some really good reviews, so I thought I'd check it out. Can you look away? Because you're
I'm just staring you down.
You made me feel weird, like looking at me. Like
no, but just looking at it, the burger part itself looks huge. Like, the burger patty looks ridiculously huge.
On one side.
Yeah.
Well, all right. That's good. You eat onions?
I like onions. Bacon. Wait, so onions, bacon, blue cheese?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's it.
Okay.
It was actually really good. Fried onions.
Okay.
Fried onions. And let me tell you what, their French fries are pretty amazing. They're a little old right now, but they're still a little crunchy. But these are the best. These are the best French fries.
No, they look crunchy, yeah.
These are the best I've ever had. French fries ever. But the hamburger's good. It's not the best of the couple ones that we've had.
Why so?
Well, honestly, I stick with the same thing mostly. So I feel like the last 3 burgers all had the same thing on it. So it's really kind of hard. I think they're all now tasting the same in a sense, except for the blue cheese. But I think I like Mother's the best. I think I like the egg and I like their onions.
Okay.
It just has a different taste. I think this is great.
Yeah.
But it has more seasoning, I think, at Mother's. But yeah. And this is gigantic.
Okay.
You make it enough?
That's the good part. So I guess I'll let you take a couple more bites and then get your review too, because it's important.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, me, I wouldn't get
Something
it with the blue
spicy on this, but I don't know. Anyway.
They have like a sauce on it?
Maybe something. I don't remember when I ordered it, but...
Was there a name for the burger or just...
Black and blue.
Mm. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, a review?
Yeah, 6 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah. It's my least favorite of the ones that I've had.
Okay.
But if I hadn't had the other ones, I probably would have given this one a little bit higher. But yeah, I mean, it's good. But I think it's the egg.
It's mid.
And then you just like gave my hamburger all those dirty looks. I think that affected my review.
Just the blue cheese part. I think everything else, you can't really even see the blue cheese from this view, but when you said blue cheese, I was like, you lost me.
But I do love blue cheese.
Yeah.
I put blue cheese on a lot of stuff, but yeah. But yeah.
Okay, so 6 or 7?
Yeah.
Give me a solid, specific number.
I'll say 7.
Wow, being generous.
I am. And it's not horrible.
Okay.
It's not horrible. But again, like I said, compared to the other 2 that I've had, not as great.
Well, my imaginary burger right here.
Oh, not my imaginary coffee. If Alex is watching.
Anti-Cute Reps Club, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I have a lavender latte. Lavender is supposed to promote calming with 3 to 4 shots like espresso.
Yes.
Makes no sense to me.
Shout out to Katarina.
Mm-hmm.
Timonium.
Yep.
Next to...
Liquid Lips.
Okay.
Yeah.
Known for their French fries.
Yeah.
What other food do they have?
Oh, I don't remember. That was a big menu. But
So
they have everything
a lot of
from
stuff.
breakfast, lunches.
So it's a cafe. Can
Yeah.
you sit down and eat?
Yeah. It's in an office building.
Oh.
Like right, because where Liquid Lips is, it's in an office.
It's in okay. So it's interesting.
Yeah, or their breakfasts are pretty good, and their shrimp salad. The place next to it, it's where I went and got my hair cut. It's the salon next to it, and they recommended shrimp salad. But I was like, well, I'm not doing that. So they were like, hamburger.
Yeah.
And again, they were like, we didn't think you eat that stuff. I'm like, oh, here we go. Which leads us into more conversation about that. But yeah, it was just funny to me because, again, I eat, within reason. I don't go crazy.
Right.
But, if it's something I want, I'll eat it and not have any regrets. But it is funny when people over the years ask me, what do you eat? And sometimes I don't even want to say, what? You ate pizza for breakfast? But again, if living your life and your nutrition and taking care of yourself, you're able to have things like this and not have regrets. No
Exactly.
regrets.
Yep. No regrets.
Yeah. Okay, Morgan, I'm sorry. I just feel really wound up after that hamburger.
Welcome to episode 3 of Eat a
And there's
Burger Bitch.
thousands of French fries. I just think.
Let me talk. Welcome to episode 3 of Eat a Burger Bitch podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Morgan, and
I'm your other host, Angela.
and today I didn't eat a burger, but Angela did.
Yes, I did. I don't know what was in it. I don't know. Like something's wrong.
I'm just a little cracked out right now.
I
It's
don't
okay.
know. Like all of a
Might
sudden.
Might be the 3 shots of espresso in your...
Yeah, but the lavender is supposed to balance it out. I was like, can I get 5 shots of lavender and 10 shots of espresso? I mean, I can handle caffeine.
Okay, well, we'll see, I guess.
It was the burger.
Okay.
Probably the 10,000 French fries I eat too. It's all your fault, Morgan. I had to eat 2 burgers for you.
Yep.
Not
Sorry.
really, but anyway.
Well, I guess I should cover too about the competition
Mm-hmm.
on just prep.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Diving right into it. Yes, I did start a prep. Yes, I did not eat a burger. I am making this decision, like I said, for myself. I think one thing to note too is when you're on competition prep, you make a lot of sacrifices.
Yeah.
And bodybuilding is a super selfish sport, especially if you do compete. And obviously now when I'm in prep, like prep comes first. Like everything I'm doing right now is for prep. Whether it's, my food decisions, my training, my sleep, like steps during the day, cardio, like supplements, all of that play a role into prep and obviously getting ready and getting stage ready and hitting those variables. And the number one reason of why bodybuilders make such that big change when they start prep to when they get on stage is because all those variables are in check. And each week, you're on point with everything. You're 110% on point. There is no free meal. There is no,
you can't skip a beat.
You can't skip a beat. You really can't.
You can't make up for a bad day or a lack of this or whatever. I mean, you have to, it's 24/7 on point.
Right. So it's, like I said, coming with sacrifices of saying no and bringing my meals to places where people might think it's weird, but at the same time, like, this is what it is.
They do think it's weird.
If I'm going out to dinner now, I'm bringing my meal. If, I was bringing my meals before if I was out and about and honestly enjoying burgers and stuff like that here and there. But now it's, I'm bringing my meals and that's that.
So, when you do that and you're in restaurants, I mean, like, they're going to watch and they're going to be inquisitive, or judge or whatever the case may be. Like, do you feel like when you're in a restaurant, just bringing out your own food?
I feel like I don't do that enough for it to, I feel like for myself personally, like in that case, I'm just going to try to avoid those as much as possible. And then obviously if the time comes up where I do have to put myself in that situation, I'll do it. But as of right now, I haven't had that situation just yet. But even in times where I wasn't in prep, but I was still bringing meals, people had something to say. Oh, you brought your meals. Oh, you're not going to eat this? No, I'm not. I'm going to have my food. Thank you for asking.
I only laugh because when we did that Ravens game.
Oh, yeah.
You were funny because you were like, did you meal prep? I was like, no.
Wait.
So, I mean, Morgan, we're driving to the game. Morgan's, luckily, you don't drive a stick, but she's eating. And all I could think about is stadium food and crap that I can eat. And then it was great. It was an awesome time. But then when we took our break, I was like, you know what? I said, I really like watching you. Like, I'm over there eating the hamburgers, the cookies, and, with everybody else. And here you are so dedicated. And I thought for a minute, I was like, God. It's like, no, I'll go ahead and take some hamburgers for the road. Remember, I took some and I just, that I had a huge respect for you to do that, to stay on track with stuff because, that's not something I've never done a bodybuilding competition. I had certainly had lots of friends that did it, but I think the biggest thing for me was to be that committed.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot. And I know we talked about it before, but it's not always the healthiest way, but I do respect and understand why people want to do that. And I think it's, as a trainer, you should experience that and be able to speak from knowledge of doing it. But that day, I think about that often when you're, anytime, we talk about meal prep and I think, meal prep? What? Like, that was foreign to me. Like, I'm not going to cook all these meals, take to the game. I'll eat there. And
I wasn't even on prep. By the way,
I know you are. That's
prep.
No, I know.
That, but I've been doing that for so long.
Yeah.
Because I know what they serve.
Yeah.
They're going to serve burgers. They're going to serve chicken tenders. They're going to serve cookies, chips. When would I find myself eating like that? It's just my point of view and my way of like, I want to eat something that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I know eating probably cookies like that and chips and stuff.
Yeah. But I think also too, like for me, like that's one of the things that you and I've talked about numerous occasions, just not that I have a horrible diet, but I will eat the things that I want. I don't go overboard with it, but our mindset, we both train the same way and we think the same way fitness wise, but it's just two different.
Yeah.
I think me just been in this industry for so long and living a certain way for so long. And that's just habit. I love food. I've always been an eater. Way back years ago when, people were limiting their calories or there was a lot of diet foods and things happening. At some point, I was always like, I'm not eating that. Like, I'm going to eat pizza if I want pizza. So I've always been like that, never been restrictive. But it did make me laugh that day because I was like, oh, nope, I'm all right over there with the hamburgers. Morgan's eating her little meal prep food.
Funny.
Smiling away. She was enjoying it. I was like, oh, I'll go get some cookies.
Funny story, too. I went to opening day last week with my mom. And of course, like, gonna bring my food. My mom knows that now.
Yeah.
Very aware. So with Camden Yards, you can bring in your own food at Camden Yards. I don't know if you know that.
No.
You can.
It's been a long time since I went to a baseball game.
They let you bring in a gallon bag of. Well, meanwhile, I went through metal detectors. They didn't even check anything in my bag. So we'll just leave it at that. But I took my meal prep. I put it in gallon Ziploc bags. Okay. So
wow, Morgan, you're awesome.
Absolutely. And I have travel utensilware. Okay. It all fit in my fanny pack because it's in gallon Ziploc bags. Easy, right? Meal prep containers take up way too much space.
Yeah.
So was at the game, took out my meal prep, started eating it out of the bag. You kind of roll the bag up.
Yeah.
So it's just like easy. And the guy next to me was like, "Is that a salad in a bag?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's chicken, rice, and spinach." And while he's holding his full bag of pretzels, he's like, "Is that a salad in a bag?" Like, yeah, it is.
What did he say?
Like he was just like so astonished. Like he was like, "Holy shit, it's a salad in a bag!" Like, like yeah, it is. Yeah.
Would you like some?
Yeah. I'm not gonna give you some, but
Well,
yeah.
that's if people aren't in that world, like they're not. Who would ever think that someone's gonna walk around with a bag at a game?
True.
He's probably talking about you.
Probably.
Yeah, this girl had it. So you probably still said it was a salad in
Yeah.
a bag.
Technically, it wasn't salad. Like it was
Right.
very minimal amount of cooked spinach
Oh my god, that's so
and
funny.
majority rice
Should have
and
bought a
then
rotisserie chicken and had a whole
But yeah.
spread.
So like that, easy. Like it's just I don't know. It's so second nature to me at this point.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean, you have a goal, right?
I have a goal.
And so I think the biggest thing is, when people don't have goals, it's hard to stick with nutrition or planning. I mean, we all fall off. I do too. And, I've noticed that sometimes if I don't write stuff down or I don't have a goal, like I'll even go out there after all these years and be like, like, what am I doing? Like, what, you know what I mean? And I have to be very structured if I do have a specific goal and write things down or I won't follow it. But, I think for me, like years ago when my friends were all doing competitions, I just knew it wasn't for me. I'm too silly to be standing up on a stage. I think my friends were like, "Oh yeah, do it, Angela. It'll be funny." I said, "Well, no one else is going to think it's funny because it's very serious for people."
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't going to go up there and not pay attention and be like, "Hey, what are we supposed to do?" And that would be me. So, I think I looked like I did one and I was okay with that. Because it is a big commitment. Now, my friend would carry around, what do you call them?
Coolers.
Thank you. I'm 60. Sometimes we don't get the words right.
With the meals.
But yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coolers. And, back then I think there was Xenadrine or Effet or something that they did take off the market that everybody had to take at a certain time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go eat and do my thing. But it's, it's very commendable to get to that point where you are doing that because I just would not.
I think a lot of people, if they don't have a goal, they can't justify it. Like,
Well,
they
yeah.
can't justify like why would I do that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's people that are committed and will live a certain lifestyle, but they, bottom line is they have some type of goal, something they want to feel or experience or change.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, me included, but I think that for me, I just look at things from a different perspective, and it could be just years of doing this that I know what my body reacts to, have changes here and there and the things that I could do. But again, as we've spoken millions of times, I'm not 20. How old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay. I'm not 25. I wasn't even working out at 25, but I think it's experience wise, but again, at some point, and I think we've talked about hormones and changes, whether you're 20, 40, 50, or 60, I definitely have to have changed things up recently because of that. And it's
Me
been
too.
hard for me.
I had to change things too.
Yeah. Talk about that.
Okay, so I want to talk about how I was able to get myself even to be able to be in a competition prep.
Yeah.
Because I think 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I was not in the right space internally
Yeah.
to even go through a contest prep. Um, and one of the things, and I was talking to you about this before, something you didn't even know was back in 2021, I was having some pretty bad digestive issues. Um, wasn't was would just say well having trouble going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Was very much so having trouble going. And um went to my routine checkup, got blood work done, the whole routine of seeing your PCP annually.
Yeah.
And labs came back. And at that time, like I was very much into fitness. Like I had a coach at the time,
Yeah.
like she was very helpful. So I was on like structure, and I was working out. And labs came back and my liver enzymes were elevated. And they were elevated to a point where it was like, girl, like
What's
you
going
be, you
on?
be drinking? Like what? And at that time I
Oh,
wasn't.
really?
Yeah. Because if your
Yeah.
liver enzymes are high, the first thing that they're gonna ask is, are you a big drinker?
Yeah.
Because obviously alcohol, liver,
Mm-hmm.
your liver's
Right.
processing the alcohol. So liver enzymes were high. And like everything else was pretty much normal. And obviously the doctor called me and was like, your liver enzymes are high. You were also describing these digestive issues. We have a great idea that it might be your gallbladder. So you're going to need to go to a surgeon to possibly get your gallbladder removed. And it freaked me the fuck out.
Of
I was
course it
like,
did.
whoa, what? Like I'm 22 years old, about to
It's
be
a big
23,
deal.
and like I'm gonna have to get surgery to get my gallbladder out. Like, what? How is this gonna limit me now? Because I know if you don't have your gallbladder and you can't digest certain things, then that's a whole different. So
Yeah.
that freaked me out. So obviously I went to the surgeon because I was like, well, my digestive issues are because of the gallbladder, right?
Right.
So I went to the surgeon, told the surgeon everything, like what was going on, symptoms, stuff like that, and she looked me dead in the eyes. She was like, as much as I'd love to operate on you because you are so healthy, everything you're describing to me has nothing to do with your gallbladder.
That's so crazy.
One, appreciate her 'cause she was honest. 'Cause,
Yeah.
imagine if she wasn't honest with me and just wanted to
Went by what they said, all
Right,
right?
because
you gotta.
I would have believed it, right? I'm not
Yeah,
a doctor.
of course.
I'm not about to just. I don't know what's
You're
going
not
on
gonna
with
challenge
me.
it.
I don't know what's going on with me. I'm going to you for help.
Yeah.
You could have easily lied to me and I could have went through surgery and this whole time it wasn't even my gallbladder,
Yeah.
right? So luckily she was like, everything you're describing isn't your gallbladder, but I do recommend you go seeing a gastroc because it sounds like it's more so like a gastro issue versus your gallbladder.
Yeah.
So obviously now I'd hop to a different doctor and I went to go see a gastroenterologist. And I don't even know if I just said that right. Or I did.
I mean, I was like,
I
I'm not
probably
one to
butchered
say.
that. I'll just say gastro doctor. Saw a gastro via Zoom. And at that point I was so frustrated because I'm like, I don't want to see another god freaking doctor.
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of this.
Yeah.
So basically it was like, yeah, you have IBS. Take Synecot. And I'm like,
Okay. What?
okay, well, I don't want to rely on Synecot for the rest of my life because I know some people that rely on laxatives for a day-to-day basis of going to the bathroom.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No, like your body should you should naturally be able to go, period.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did get the Synecot, tried it, was like, this isn't really working still. So it just came down to honestly changing my diet. One thing I was using is I was drinking casein protein.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And didn't have a lot of fats in my diet.
Okay.
And right when that changed, I started going to the bathroom again.
Interesting.
And obviously, like, got my labs done.
Yeah.
I didn't really to backtrack. I didn't really follow up with any other doctor because I was like, okay, I think I basically just trial and error, troubleshooted, and
Just
figured
figure
this
it
out on
out.
my own because
Yeah.
now I'm pretty regular and feeling good.
Huh.
So yeah, changed my diet, eliminated some things, and went back to being regular. So
And that's that?
the following blood work, my liver enzymes were perfect, back to normal. But then
Interesting.
that led into a different route of, okay, got my gut health in check, but also now my hormones are fucked.
Oh, yeah.
Because I also transitioned off of birth control.
Okay. So yeah, your body was a little out of whack.
So one thing after another, okay, yeah, gut health in check, but now like I'm not getting my cycle. Which 1 month, 2 months, 3 months went by, and then the 4th month hits, and you're like, okay,
Something's wrong.
something's wrong, and now this kind of puts a toll on my body because obviously if I'm not producing enough hormones, like estrogen has a very big influence on bone health and osteopenia, osteoporosis.
Yep.
And also just like getting your cycle is a very normal thing for women to have and just a normal function of the body. And if you're not getting it,
It
really,
regulates the body.
you don't feel, you just don't feel yourself.
Yep.
So, yeah, I did let that go for probably longer than I should have because obviously the longer you go without having it, the harder it is to bring it back because you're in a deeper hole. So the past year and a half, I really focused on getting my cycle back, which I did.
Yeah.
I hit a year mark of getting it back a full year and some. So it's been very cool. I can definitely touch more on things that I did. But do you have anything you want to add?
I mean, first? I'm on the whole other spectrum of that. Excuse me. I definitely, listen, being at 60, like I'm past, perimenopause, I didn't even know when that was happening. But looking back on some of the research that I've done, because I didn't think that, I wasn't thinking that I was experiencing things. And it was anything, it wasn't a whole lot. And I'm very blessed because right now, like there's nothing that I'm really experiencing. I think, the brain fog is definitely something that I experience. That's definitely hormonal. But also there are things that I'm doing, excuse me, to combat that. And it's just basic, simple life things. But as when you have estrogen and progesterone and testosterone and all of those are like below, like at the bare minimum, like you are experiencing so many different things. I mean, women's experience the hot flashes too. There's depression. There's women, I just listened to a podcast where women are not understanding what's happening in their bodies and take control of it. And the depression turns into suicide, right? Your body's changing, your mental health, your anxiety, your cortisol, you're gaining weight. You're not eating because you think that's what's going to help you lose weight. And, you're doing activities that are just destroying your body because you're not doing the things that you need to do. And when I say it's a simple fix, there are things that we can do and you don't have to, if hormone replacement is something that you want to do, by all means do that. I don't, because I don't have a lot of the symptoms, if any, really, that need to be corrected. I did go get some blood work done because, as most menopausal women, gaining weight, and for me, being active all my life, and I'm a lifter and I eat, and I was noticing some things. And I also noticed that when I would eat, in the summertime, I do a lot of walking and I love to walk. And I would walk in certain areas because I knew after my walk, I would go get my pizza and my cake. Like I had this whole little thing that I would treat myself with. And I found that when I was doing that, I had to take a nap. I would be exhausted. And I was like, it's just work and whatever. I'll just take a nap. No, there was things going on. So I did get blood work done, and I went to Life Med, actually had a whole panel done, and found out that I was insulin resistant, which is extremely scary if you do the research on it, because it can lead to a whole slew of things that you don't realize. It's not just weight gain. It creates so much inflammation in your body, the stress that it puts on your body, that's diabetes right there, right? Now some of my research, or some of the things that I'm, which as we talk and get together, I'll have more information because I am actively studying things, but Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and most women get Alzheimer's, and it's because of hormones, and it's, the changes in the body that, there's not a whole lot of education out there. And when I talk to women my age or even younger, and they're experiencing, I don't sleep and I feel anxiety, and I, even like at some point women are like, I think I have ADD because you're scattered. And it is a thing, and it's all hormonal. And if you can get those in check and know what's happening, even for brain fog, like for me, like I don't experience as much now because I'm past, I'm post menopause, but I learned that I need to make sure that I'm drinking enough water, just little things, right? Drinking enough water, omega-3s, making sure I'm getting my D3, more fiber, more fat in your, more fat. And that's something that's so important. Strength training is so important. Making sure you know what your body needs as fuel is so important. And if you can do all those things, you have a good chance of, fighting some of those issues. But again, I think sometimes when I talk to women, they're in a place where they are depressed because they don't even realize what's happening. And then when I say, then I expand and I say, are you feeling this? Are you feeling that? And they're like, yeah. I was like, with your age, I said, do you mind if I ask your age? And then it's almost like they're like, what? Like,
it's like a light bulb.
Yeah. And then they're like, again, it's, you go from like, what's happening to like, oh, and most of them are like, really, I didn't know that. And then it just makes me feel like and I do know there needs to be more education, for women, because whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, or 60 and beyond, you need to understand what to do now, right? When you turn 30, because every decade you lose muscle, right? Your hormones are changing, lifestyle changes, right? The biggest thing I can say to myself is, I thank myself for what I started to do in my 20s. You want to thank yourself in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond for what you're doing now. And, you're here, I talk about how I eat. But I tell you what, when it comes time to tighten things up and eat the way I'm supposed to, or things that are good for me, I do that. I mean, I have changed tremendously because of that insulin resistant, because it's very concerning. And that's part of changing up your lifestyle, because what I was doing in my 20s, 30s, and 40s is not going to work for me now. So I do have to change up, but I'm very thankful that I actually have lived my lifestyle a certain way that equips me to be able to handle or not get all those symptoms. I mean, from my understanding and just from some of my reading, there are different stages of menopause. I didn't know that. I thought that was it. You just got all these. So when I would take tests, they're like, oh, you're not in menopause or perimenopause. And I'm like, oh, I haven't had my period in 3 years. Like, what am I? And then I was like, well, maybe I'm really 30. Well, no, I better check you know what I mean? So, education is huge. And I definitely want to, at some point, just do a whole podcast on that. And there's a few people that I'd like to reach out to that have written books and can really talk a little bit more about it. But I'm just from my own personal experience and just educating myself. It's been very interesting, but the insulin resistant, is a very scary thing. Very.
Yeah. I always say guess, don't test.
Yeah.
Or sorry, test, don't guess.
Well, I said yes.
Wow.
Oh, I think you might be perimenopause.
Test, don't guess.
Wait, what?
Test, don't guess.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so do you think if you would have not gotten the blood work done, like what would you have done? Like just
Well, I think for me, I was trying to figure out, I guess I, I think I wasn't ready to change anything because I'm like, I mean, like, I've been doing this for years. Like, oh, I don't need to eat like that. Oh, I don't need to do that. Well, then, you know, yeah, no matter what, your body's still going to run its course. I may look 42, but I'm not. So I have to live my life as someone who is 60 and make sure it's preventative medicine now, for when I'm,
everything we
God,
do.
70 to 80. But I think that I didn't realize that I was insulin resistant. And the problem is that as much research and some education that I had that I didn't even pinpoint that until my test showed it. And, the doctor that went through my test was so confused. He was like, "What are you doing?" He was like, "What?" They were very confused because, on the outside, they're like, "How can you be like, what?"
Right, right. When you think of insulin resistance, you think of overweight,
Mhm.
like you hold a lot of
Diabetic.
weight
Yeah.
in your midsection. Yeah.
Mhm. And then, which I do. And, because I've always been someone who has probably eaten more and it's based on my training, that's always been a thing for me and I've always been okay with that. But the scary thing is the visceral fat, right? So, that creates a whole nother slew of health issues. And it kind of scared me a little bit. Like, wait, what is happening? Now I have to, you know, hear what I'm saying to other women and then start to do that myself in a sense. You know what I mean? I'm lucky I have most of that, but just, I'm not a bad eater, but I do eat rice. I do eat, it's not that I overcarb, but I, just as anybody who lifts, we do have certain balance of carbs that we eat. But I had to change that up. And so in December, when I found that out, he said, "Angela, you probably should maybe fast," which is a whole nother podcast too, because that's something else I've been doing a lot of research on for women my age or younger and what fasting can do. Like, it's pretty interesting. And I'm definitely going to do it. It's really quite amazing. And, like back in my day, like you got to eat, well, of course, 5 meals a day and you have to have protein, carb, and fat and, in order, but you have to eat you cannot get up in the morning and not eat for hours. You're going to lose, the whole myth of things. So it's just wrapping my head around that. So I've been slowly like changing my morning routine. I just had a whole conversation about that because just talking about hair and skin and aging and things that I do. But what I've started to do in the morning is instead of having a big meal, just making sure I get my protein and my collagen. And I use an unflavored protein and collagen in my coffee. I mix it in a blender. It's like a latte. And it tastes pretty amazing. So right then and there, I'm getting, I do drink, I've been drinking water beforehand because sometimes I don't drink enough. And, it's important to get that water in before I drink that coffee. So I've been doing that, but I've been doing that probably since December. So I've created a habit with that. And then I will eat when I get to work. The problem is sometimes I get really busy and then it gets pushed out. And in my head, I was like, if I wanted to make any kind of changes with fasting, it's got to be at least 16 hours to have that cell turnover, those changes. So once I get through my unflavored protein in the next couple of weeks, and even the collagen, so those can break fasts.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it, and I think it's important to talk about that and let people know what changes I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
Apparently it's, it can break insulin resistance a little bit quicker, just energy, lifestyle, sleep, skin, hair, just rejuvenation of the body, which I think, when you're at any age, really, you should be doing that, right? You changed your eating habits and your lifestyle, you know what I mean? And look how that made changes for you. You didn't have surgery.
I didn't have surgery and I got my cycle back.
Well, yeah, now you can have babies.
Yes. Um, but
Clearly,
yeah, I think one thing too to point out is yes, the fasting is a great
Yeah,
tool and there's a lot of, back and forth obviously, but I think there also is a lot of research.
yeah,
And the main thing is being consistent with it. Like, yeah, you
yeah,
could say, "Oh, I'm going to fast. No, I'm going to do this," but
yeah,
if you have that specific thing you're working on, like insulin resistance,
yeah.
like you're going to have to do that for a certain period of time,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. And I think seeing it on paper,
Mm-hmm. Well, I
seeing it
showed
on
you.
paper in
It
front
was
of you,
red.
like
It was
seeing lab
red.
results
Scary.
in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
like there's no running from that.
Mm-mm.
There's no running.
No.
You can run from it when it's like a possibility and you don't really have it in front of you, but when you have something in front of you, it's like a, oh shit, this is a reality check
Yeah.
for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I either need to get a grip on it,
Yeah.
or it's gonna get worse.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was, on the test when I showed it to you, even I was like, oh my.
Yeah, I
It was,
surprised.
on a graph, it was all red,
Yeah.
like bright, like big in my face. And
Well, I
even
do that for a reason.
Well,
yeah.
yeah. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, God, what's that? Is that my personality test? Like, what is that? He's like, and, the doctor, I've been going to him for probably the last 10 years. He's always done my blood work. He was like, what is going on? And, so again, it's important to get your blood work done. You know what I mean? When I had physical years ago, I think they were just looking for cholesterol and things of that nature. If you're doing a panel, like it really makes sense, especially if you feel like something's going on in your body or not sure, at least gives you some peace of mind that maybe things are good and you just need to maybe up your D3 or your omegas are low or whatever the case may be. But for me, if I hadn't gotten that test I didn't know that's where I was. Again, what would I have changed? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I was just doing and eating the same way for so long. And
you were just probably going to keep doing it.
Yeah. I wasn't thinking like I got to change my eating habits. It was like, I thought maybe it was sleep or just hormones but not specifically that.
Yeah.
And again, excuse me, my mom has a little bit of Alzheimer's. And so nobody in my family's ever had that. So then when I look at her lifestyle, now I really understand why she is experiencing that, as opposed to my dad, who just turned 93, who, you would never know. The man looks like he's 70. He gets up, he moves around, he can still drive, he's got his mind, but he ate differently and lived a different lifestyle than my mom, 100%. So now that I look at that and I know like what I need to do. Mm-hmm. And it's nipping things in the bud and making small changes and just knowing where your health is.
Yeah, I think as much as you could stress it to women your age of just understanding things, is obviously like for you,
yeah,
realizing that you have this, that, not want to say condition, but just this marker that needs to improve, or else it could affect other things. And I think as much as it's important for people or women your age, it's also important for women my age, because yes, like trying to conceive and fertility, but also like I said, the longer you put yourself in that hole, the harder it's going to get yourself out of it. Oh my
gosh.
So imagine if something's off in your 20s and you don't have any clue about it, and then you get to your 30s and you're like, oh shit, like how long has this been going on? Obviously you have no idea.
Listen, Morgan, that's what I do on a daily basis. I see women, that are younger than me. And, if I can give someone your age knowledge, and say, look, this is what you need to be doing now, is to be consistent. I'm going on 33 years. And I still had some issues with hormones, right? And, still being active and, whatever the case may be, but it's important to know. And so you can be prepared if something happens or, your body. But, once and I'm not saying this is for everybody, but, when you get in your 50s, when things really change, things can get, they can get worse.
Yeah. And I also I know you stress it too, obviously, with the importance of getting blood work done, but also getting more than just the, basic panel, which cholesterol, is helpful. Like cholesterol is a big marker. Metabolic panel with your liver enzymes and glucose and stuff like that. Yes, it's important, but I think that only shows a very small application.
Yeah.
Like very small.
Yeah.
Versus like you want the entire picture.
Yeah.
And John
It's
always
actually really cool. It's actually cool to
It is cool.
see. Some of it I don't really get. I was like, oh, that's good. I don't know what that is, but
It is cool. Shout out to John because he always uses this analogy, but he always describes it as, imagine if you had a dating profile and you are looking to date on the profile and all you could see on the other end was just someone's picture. You couldn't see the full bio. You couldn't see their age. You couldn't see their location. You couldn't see their likes or dislikes. Like, you just saw their picture. And you thought, But that's like the basic panel what you get from the doctor. It's just like the picture.
Yeah.
But if you actually get a full panel, which obviously like someone can easily talk to me, I can point you in the right direction, or obviously like that too. But it's taking the bigger step of, yes, it might cost a little bit more, but also it's like it's your health.
And it's so worth it.
It's your health.
I mean, I'm
like, your health is your wealth.
Yeah. I mean,
investment
I know,
here.
Sounds very corny, but it's true.
Yes, investment.
Yeah.
And peace of mind too.
Yeah.
But so the picture part only is just the basic panel your PCP probably orders, and then the full profile of picture, date, picture, location, age, likes, dislikes, all about this person is like the actual detailed, comprehensive panel that you can get.
Yeah.
What would you choose?
Well, I don't know. I have to think about that. I might not want to know all the backhand. Are you talking about the dating or the...
Realistically though, like, you're going to want the full picture.
Yes.
Like, the full picture is the realistic thing.
Yeah.
So that's always what I stress is like, PCP's going to order and like everything looks fine. But if you're someone who's complaining of other things, you're getting a very small image of what's going on.
Yeah.
And I also think it's just important as females too, to get a full panel of your hormones, like progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, free testosterone, DHEA.
Yeah.
Like,
those mine was low too.
Those are all so important, and
very low.
PCP will not check that.
No. I mean, do you remember that time I told you I was dizzy and some other things were going on? My DHEA was supposed to be at 300. It was at 15.
Right.
And, that has a lot to do with lifestyle, stress, lifestyle, hormones, and, my body being so inflamed. And, I knew like my joints are feeling a little in my hands a little bit, but nothing, I'm like, oh, I'm good. You know what I mean? And so there's things that I noticed, but again, I didn't realize what it was from. I was like, oh, my hormones are probably all over the place. Just assuming that because of my age.
Yeah.
But the amount of inflammation, and my inflammation was over. My inflammation was red too on that test, which is so bad because, that you can create autoimmune disorder, like all kinds of things. And, one of the things that with Alzheimer's is inflammation in the brain. You know what I mean? And
inflammation is inflammation. Like, systemic inflammation is systemic inflammation.
Yeah, it's bad. It's very bad. And, I was like, I'm not inflamed. Well, I was extremely inflamed. And so all of the above. And, when you think you're healthy and you live a healthy lifestyle, I mean, I was taken aback. I was like, whoa, like it was shocking. And it, I do love food and I do love sugar, and, I don't eat enough fruits and vegetables because I just don't really like them. But I found ways to get that in my diet, through, smoothies or things like that. I'll make the effort, because I know I have to. And, we can get into free radicals. That's a whole nother podcast with free radicals in your body and cancer and things like that. But inflammation is the root cause.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
You're putting yourself at risk.
Yeah.
If you are under any sort of like systemic inflammation, like you're putting yourself at risk.
Yeah.
Like you said, autoimmune diseases,
Mm-hmm.
you're putting yourself at risk.
Yeah. And even your gut health affects everything. So inflammation. So it's all,
Second brain.
but it's all like tied in, you know, as I'm probably doing way too much study and research at one time because there's just so much that attached. But again, you know, your gut health plays a huge part in that inflammation in your body. And it's a pretty amazing thing. Like I said, I've never had a health issue and never had to think twice about what I eat. But I definitely think about it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you on my birthday, it was like 3 days of, oh my God, people brought me pizzas and I love cornbread. You know, it's a little crazy, but I love cornbread. So someone made me a sheet of cornbread and I had cornbread muffins and cornbread cookies and pizza. I ate junk. And I'm telling you, I was for an entire week, I was so inflamed. I felt it. My eyes were puffy. I mean, I felt like I was out drinking every night.
Yeah.
And so then I started thinking about times that I would say, oh, I have a food hangover and laugh about it. Now I'm like, it's not funny.
Okay. Yeah.
When I have a food hangover now, it's not funny because then I know I'm probably destroying myself. But once you get things into check, and I will say since December, I've noticed a big difference, right? My sleep is better. I'm not as inflamed. The small changes.
Not cold turkey. You don't cut it out cold turkey.
No, I mean, that's hard to do.
That's hard. It's not sustainable.
But if you can address what's happening and you know that if you make the changes, because sometimes when you try to do things right away, full force, it's not meant to be. Like take things exactly, whether even quitting smoking or, you know, things that you're doing. I mean, with sugar, there's an addiction.
Yeah.
And so I found myself craving less sugar, but I didn't like stop everything all at one time. Like I changed, like they were like, I love white rice, jasmine. I mean, I love my rice, but I had to change that up. So then I went to brown rice and I was like, I don't like that either. So now I eat, because I'm all about skin health, which is a whole nother podcast. Because I know you all want to know my secrets.
Absolutely.
Especially Claire and Alex.
Glowing.
My facelift in a bottle, my dirt that I drink. But
this.
Right. That's my blue drink. So I make drinks. I'm always mixing stuff together. That one has, we'll talk about creatine and aging.
Absolutely.
As well, but that's my creatine, my blue.
Number one.
NutriBio, I have to have like at least something that's going to help me drink water.
Number one supplement.
Yeah. Well, the cognitive portion of it, I didn't realize that as well. So I always make all these little concoctions, which I just got off track because I was talking about something and now
Sorry.
That's okay. What were we talking about?
You were talking about your skin and your hair.
No, it was before that, before I started talking about that.
Inflammation.
So, right, with inflammation. So, I don't know, probably repeating myself, but I think I just started to notice a difference in my hair and my skin.
Oh, yeah.
My sleeping, my, you know, and yes, I'm all about, you know, taking care of your skin, but I definitely now, you know, sugar wreaks havoc on your skin, and you know, it interferes with your collagen, your elasticity of the skin, like so many things. And you would think, because I'm all about skin health, that I would be the first one to be like, don't eat sugar. But as I was saying, now I'm saying I didn't stop everything right away. And the point that I was getting at too is once I do break that insulin resistance, because I can.
It is reversible.
It is reversible. Changing my diet. I know what I was saying. So I started eating more sweet potatoes.
Oh, okay.
So does my skin look glowing lately? It's because of the sweet potatoes. They
do have a lot of vitamin.
They're really good for you, but I do put blue cheese on them and hot sauce. But anyway, that's a whole nother podcast. But yeah, just changing things up. And again, you know, I definitely notice a difference. You know, in my
and she still eats burgers.
Yeah, I mean, like that's, to me, I see that as protein, right? And it's I'm not going to, I ate a burger. Okay. Had some French fries. All right.
Tomorrow you'll have your sweet potato.
Right. And I'll go right back to what I was doing before. I am pretty consistent with my meals. But I don't feel bad about that. And I think there's a purpose to what we're doing and why we're doing it. And I think it's, again, the whole purpose of why this podcast is called Eat a Burger, Bitch, because just eat it. Right? I have some health issues that I have addressed, working towards, and I have seen a change. If this was right, if I had that test right when we really were getting into it, I might have said, let me just get a little bit further in my process of, I guess, healing myself.
Sure.
Because
holistic approach.
Yeah, because, like I said, it's a scary thing what that can turn into. It wasn't really any weight gain that I was worried about. It was what it could cause down the road. And I don't ever want to be in a position where I'm like, I ate a box of donuts, half a box of donuts. And, now I'm diabetic, or now that just pushed me over the edge. So,
right.
I never ate maybe cookies, but I'm not a big donut person.
Yeah.
But just taking charge of things and making changes and sticking with it.
Absolutely.
So that you can do things like,
what I'm doing.
Yeah. I mean, if you're just changing your diet, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's.
But if you didn't know, you didn't know. I think the whole point is know
right.
what's happening, whether it's something good or bad, like know where you are at any age.
Yeah.
Because
that's how I honestly can relate to on my end, as far as obviously the digestion part of it, but also getting my cycle back and realizing like, okay, the doctors tried to say like you have PCOS because you don't have your cycle.
I remember you telling me that.
Right.
I was like, what?
And I was like, no, I don't. Like my hormones are just shit right now. Like, can you not see?
Do you remember? So we can have the same conversation.
Like, no,
so you in menopause?
My hormones are literally in menopause right now. That is why I'm not getting my cycle. Can you not read? If I had PCOS, like, I'd probably have higher androgen as higher.
Right. There are things that are going to be higher.
There are different types of PCOS.
Yeah.
But when I was looking at look, I'm no doctor. I am no doctor.
Yeah. We're not doctors.
But like just taking information and looking at it and being like, okay, I stopped birth control. I didn't get my cycle back. I was probably overtraining at the time. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't producing enough hormones to get my cycle.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. If you're not producing enough, you're not going to get a cycle. So I took it on my responsibility to not go back on birth control, which was offered to me again. But
that's what they do.
My perspective of, okay, I'm just going to pull back on my training, which I went from training 5 days a week to only training 3. Mm-hmm. I went from doing cardio 5 days a week to doing just walks.
Yeah.
I went from eating in a little bit of a deficit to eating in a surplus. Mm-hmm. And changing my food sources, like eating more Mediterranean style.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd be darned. Mm-hmm. I'd be darned.
Yeah.
I felt great. Cycle came back and I felt rejuvenated. And as much as I thought like, oh shit, I'm going to be eating more, like weight gain, which that still goes through my head too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I felt good. I actually like lost maybe like 5 or so pounds with eating more, and I just felt lighter and I felt good. And that's what kind of brought me here is getting labs done, obviously, and taking control and controlling what I could and proving it to myself. Like it was empowering to be able to say like, you know what? I'm going to take it in my own hands because I have a feeling like I can do this. What do you know?
Well, I mean, it's, just listening to it and just going through in my head how many people we both talk to, we're coaches from different angles, right? Where people should be coming. I mean, I can actually have this conversation about myself now, where hopefully someone who listens to this 30 years from now will be like, oh, or even for you, like, oh, you know what? I remember, Angela will be like 100
Please.
and 10.
Please.
Will you come visit me in old people's house?
You're
home?
gonna still be in your home, independent.
Oh my God, what?
Yeah.
I'll probably still, I don't know. Before I get too silly. We're having a serious conversation before I get too silly about it.
Yeah.
This is my walker move. Anyway, that people know that, you can make changes with food.
Yeah, and just lifestyle and knowing when to pull back.
It's not just weight loss. It's just weight loss.
Yeah.
Or weight gain or strength conditioning, whatever the case may be. It's internal health.
Yeah, our bodies weren't meant to obviously like be in a deficit for so long.
Eat cupcakes. At least 6 of them.
So, when it comes time to balance out your hormones, like I always say sacrifices, like you'll have to make sacrifices. The main priority when balancing your hormones, and I even tell this to some of my clients too, like unfortunately, like the main priority right now can't be weight loss. I know you want to lose weight, but until we get this covered and check it out, like we're at a checkout line. Like until this is checked out, weight loss isn't going to come.
Yeah. Well, let's just say same thing. Let's say I came to you, I didn't know you, and I came to you, and I needed a coach, right? And let's just say I explained to you how I was feeling, what was going on, and you were like, okay, that sounds like you're insulin resistant. You're going to need to fix that because I'm not, if you're insulin resistant, it's a whole chain of reactions that are happening or not happening in your body. And weight loss or weight gain or muscle strength or whatever is not going to be a factor until you get that under control. And I think that once people realize that, it's not about running 7, and I'm not saying anything's bad about running or anything like that.
Time and place.
It's just, look at what you're eating and putting in your body initially, and then making those other changes, and it'll all happen. Like, weight loss is a byproduct of whatever you're doing, right? That shouldn't be, I need to lose weight, I need to get healthier, I need to change these things so that I will be able to. And I tell people all the time at the gym, like, if you think of it that way, you're less likely to worry about what the scale says. You know what I mean? You'll be more likely to, it's how you feel on a daily basis. Journaling, wake up in the morning and write down what you're feeling. If you're tired or, what your motivation is for that day, or if you love affirmations, whatever, it's going to help you to start that day, but address how you're feeling. If you're feeling tired, what did I do yesterday? Okay. Don't dwell on it, but make some changes moving forward. And little things like that are going to start the process of you getting to where you need to be, even in life. I started journaling a long time ago. I talked to you about us coming up with our own journal. I mean, I have a whole bookshelf of journals. I love journaling. I've gotten other people I use notebooks. I think it's helped me through some, some hard times, when I was married, but that's a whole nother podcast. We got a lot of podcasts.
You just had
I think it's important to get your thoughts out and acknowledge them and,
feel them.
Going back to that, I know we're just going down a whole different road as usual, but, it was something that I did. And years later, when I read what I wrote, I was like, wow, that poor girl. But look where you are now. You grow and you can see that strength. But those are the things, stress creates all kinds of issues within the body. And I think if people just understand daily life and just doing things that you're passionate on, trying to find the happiness in things, you will
lose weight.
You will. I mean, it's not about, yes, it's about what you're eating, calories and what you're doing, but it's not just that.
Yeah.
There's so many components, of physical fitness. And I think now more than ever, like, I'm a huge advocate when I talk to people, like, you need to have, even though sometimes I don't do it just because, well, it's not about me, but, getting into doing, there's mind meditation and just walking. Like, I bought a walking pad. I will use it. Meditation. I will use it. But I like to walk outside. So it's getting warmer out, but just little things here and there. More water. Like, look at how water can help with metabolism and just many functions in the body.
Sleep.
You know?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, I could keep on going.
All right. Well, I think this was really.
We didn't really even talk about what we want to talk about.
Yep.
We always have. I know, but Morgan's always like, "What do you want to talk about?" I said, "Morgan, you know that's not going to happen. We'll start talking about whatever, and it's very organic what we talk about."
It is.
Yeah,
Which is awesome.
these are my office talks.
All right. Well.
All right. Well.
Do you want to shout out anybody? Because I'm gonna plug my cookbook still and Flavor Gang and
yeah. I mean, I think biggest thing what people do ask me, like, you know, what are some of the things that I do with my drinks? But I'm a big advocate of collagen. I've been drinking collagen since 2017 religiously. I have not missed a day. But I do, it's a local business, but I do. And I also use his unflavored protein.
Who is this?
MVP Proteins. You know, give us a shout out. He's on Instagram, MVP Protein. I'm sure if you said my name, he'll probably give you a discount. I haven't asked him yet, but I'm sure he will. Guess he will now. But his products, I mean,
eat a burger.
Eat a burger.
Discount, eat a burger.
Discount, eat a burger.
B.
Yeah, just use the word B. B. But yeah, so that's, and then I do a lot of NutriBio supplements. I do, you know, based on, my blood work, you know, I do their DHEA and I use their flavored proteins and their creatine, but, you know, Craig is local and he's got some great products. Check him out on Instagram.
As always, you can find me on Instagram, Morgan the Personal Trainer. And my cooking page, it's Chaos in the Kitchen, where my cookbook is. And then ncrnutritioncoaching.com if you do want to work one-on-one with me. I am still taking new online coaching clients. If you want to hop on a call with me, whatever, feel free to DM me, or you can fill out the application on the website.
Yeah. But also too, like, I think a lot of the conversations that I have with women, just going back a little bit to the just the perimenopause and the menopause stuff, you know, you can reach out to me. I do work for Brick Bodies. I would be more than happy to have a conversation if you want to come visit me. You know, we have a great club. If you get on our website, do a virtual tour. Just get on there. But again, if you want specific information and you would, you know, you need to get on track with your goals, whatever the case may be, you can reach out to me that way.
How can someone contact you?
I guess if they want to contact me through the podcast and then
through me?
Yeah.
Or your email? What's your email?
Oh, yeah. Well,
I'll put Angela's email.
Yeah, we'll put my information on there. But I'd be happy. I'd be happy. There's other things that I do that we also have a recover area for inflammation. We have red light saunas, compression, cryo. So it's a really amazing, you know, give me a shout out. I'd be happy to talk a little bit more about it.
For sure.